Hello everybody, welcome to League Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you guys. What a weekend behind us. You had Tiger Woods winning the Masters, Game of Thrones final season premiere, and apparently there were some meaningful League of Legends games or something over the weekend.
Yeah, some certainly meaningful games here. We finally have most of the teams set here in stone here for MSI and ready here for our first international event of 2019. But hey, let's break down exactly what went on this weekend.
Of course, you had TSM versus Liquid, the boss battle as the hype teaser that the LCS had. Doublelift versus Bjergsen. Winner gets the most LCS titles, and it was Liquid doing exactly what TSM did. That's just how the script is written. You go up 2-0, pull off the reverse sweep. Exactly what TSM did against Cloud9. And Mark, this looked like it had TSM getting back to the top of NA once again. So close.
Oh man, they were so close. And you look at how this series went. Game 1 and Game 2, TSM break out of some interesting compositions here and catch Team Liquid off guard. Some big time mistakes here from Doublelift in games 1 and 2 really did end up being things that cost TL their points here in those matches. And then the turnaround in game 3, getting that Skarner pick for Smithy, keeping Doublelift safe here with that Tom Kench, things going like that way. That was huge for Team Liquid, and they got the turnaround and they managed to make the reverse sweep happen.
But even in Game 5, because Game 4 was a smash in Liquid's way ever since that first gank mid really backfired for TSM. But Game 5, much like the C9 series, they weren't tilted. TSM were not tilted. They had a great start to that 5th game. They had a sizable gold lead. It still looked like they were going to get back. Bjergsen get his 6th title, but a couple of mistakes from TSM gets Liquid a Baron, got them back into the game, 3-peat, and now Doublelift 6 LCS titles. It's unbelievable that at one point this guy's entire career was a meme. There was a subreddit for his trophy case because he never won anything, and now he has the most LCS titles of all time.
And hey man, there's another player on that Team Liquid roster that had a subreddit all about the trophy cases. His was empty. That's Jensen.
Woo! Throw one in there.
Picking up that #1 there finally. And hey, big time congratulations. You're dealing with all that little bit of trolling from TSM flashing in some of those nightmare picks that they've had in the past here. The Echo for Jensen, things like that. Gets his revenge in Game 5 and is a key performer for Team Liquid in that Game 5. I think the first games, Game 1 through 4, weren't the best for Jensen, was getting taken advantage of by Bjergsen, but in Game 5, held his own in his lane, and then outside of it, was managing to make a big impact on the LeBlanc that Bjergsen wasn't able to make an impact on earlier in the series.
And Core JJ, I know Doublelift got MVP of this series. I think it should have gone to Core JJ. I mean, this is the guy who usually you see supports pick the Braum and Tom Kench, and it's resident sleeper. You don't want to see those support champions, but he is so fantastic. And to learn these champions, watch any of Core JJ's games. He was blocking everything on that Braum and keeping Doublelift safe. But as best of 5 series go, you know, when it goes to a Game 5, you're going to pinpoint a few decisions and mistakes that end up changing the game, costing the series. And for this one, people are going to look to Sven on that Ezreal, which is a damn shame because he had a good series coming into this, a couple of bad mistakes, and it's extra under the microscope because he was BMing a little bit at the start here with the, where's Jensen? He's so short, I can't see him. So people are going to give him a little bit more flack, but let's not flame him too hard. He had a great series, but obviously this pick on Ezreal.
Why? I still hate watching this because it's like,
why are you there?
There's no benefit. There really is no benefit. You know, what are you going to get? Are you going to try to get some vision here? You're going to try to deal 200 damage to the Skarner? It really did not make a lot of sense here. And again, put TSM in a position where they had so much control and then gave Team Liquid that window back into the game. And then again, yet another moment here where it actually was TSM getting back into that position of control, and they had this fight, and then just, you know, you didn't need to go for it there. I can see the thought of thinking, let me get one more.
No vision in that bush.
Let me finish it. You had no vision, and you knew that LeBlanc was getting to that point in the game. You can't be going for those type of things. And it's so rough because you're right. Sven has been a massive member for Team Liquid TSM's success this year and was a massive part of Team Liquid's success, unfortunately, in these finals. Really did have a good series. It it kills you when you do these type of things in the game 5. Doublelift had really bad mistakes too in games 1 and 2, but they weren't the moments that ended
Not
the
as big
series.
as game 5. And I really feel bad for Sven because you saw that interview he did with Dash. He was really loving his time now on TSM, was excited about getting back to the finals for them, being the first player to win in EU and NA. So for the series to end for him in particular in that way, really devastating. But, it's just going to add to his story, and he's going to be even more fired up for the summer split. For Liquid, technically the spring split continues for them because they're going back to MSI. The first team in NA to go back-to-back years to the midseason invitational. Are you feeling more or less confident about them than you did in 2018?
I'm definitely feeling more confident about them than I did last year. I'm not this wasn't really the championship performance that you might have wanted if you're thinking that Team Liquid is going to MSI and you want to see them be super dominant here, given the way that the performances went for the likes of an SKT, of G2, who have punched their tickets here for MSI as well. But when you look at the comparisons to last year with this roster and the strengths that they have, hey man, Doublelift was right. Doublelift took care of business here in North America. Jensen is going to carry him once they get here into international play. And hey, it's not just going to be Jensen carrying him, because as we know, the success here with Team Liquid is all about Core JJ doing some great things, Smithy's veteran leadership in the jungle, and Impact holding on strong in that top side.
And for all the international experience that Jensen and Core JJ do have, it's their first MSI that they're going to be going to. And remember, Liquid has to play in that final round of play-ins to even get to the main event, going back to 2017 TSM. And for TSM, Team Solo made this loss, obviously going to cost Reggie $100K with that bet that he made with Steve.
And the switch away from Doublelift to Sven is getting more expensive every day.
It's very painful for TSM. But I think overall, you've got to look at this season as very positive. They looked like clearly one of the best teams in North America throughout the majority of the split. They were so close to capturing yet another crown for them. And I think you're seeing Acadian again in summer. I think he's going to start over Greg. There's really no reason not to, because you saw the ceiling that this team had. And obviously, Broken Blade had an incredible series and an incredible year overall for TSM.
There's so much positive here for the TSM fan base to be looking at with this series. Hey man, he even won a game with Lux, with Bjergsen playing the Lux.
That's some crazy
For all them Twitch streamers out there, from all them e-girls, he brought out the Lux. It was a real nice treat. I think when you do look at TSM as a whole, what they brought this split, you do gotta feel positive. They miss out big time here on not going to MSI. I feel like out of all the North American teams, TSM had the most to gain by going to MSI, getting that international experience that guys like Acadian and Broken Blade can benefit from as you keep your eyes towards Worlds. Because I'll tell you what, TSM fans, that's where you gotta be looking this year, because once again, you should be one of the stalwart teams here representing North America and being something that fans here can be proud of in the results.
And for, not going to MSI, this is about as good a start other than that for qualifying for that World Championship, with finishing second, getting the second most championship points. And I mean, going out in quarterfinals last year spring, you're on the back foot already for qualification. So overall, I think a successful season for TSM based on last year. They got room to improve, obviously, but I still think they're looking like a front runner for Worlds here in 2019. Coming up after the break, G2. We thought they might struggle heading into playoffs, but they get Origin again, and they decide we're going to speed run this entire playoff run. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to League Unlock, recapping some of the EU action over the weekend, where you had two best-of-5 series, and of course it wrapped with the rematch, Origin versus G2, and the entire series was faster than what the final episode of Game of Thrones is going to be. The entire series, Mark.
It was insane, man. You're watching this thing and you're like, I don't know how they're going to step it up for the next game to end it even a little bit faster. They find a way, and then you get to game 3, and all of a sudden you're starting to think about, wow, am I actually going to be seeing a Dancing Rift Herald in the LEC finals here? Thankfully, for Origin's sake, didn't get to see the Dancing Rift Herald, but it wasn't too long after there that it was G2 finishing the job, clinching the title here, and this is the title that they've deserved ever since the beginning of this split. This has been all about G2 for the most part here. You had Fnatic's resurgence, but it is the G2 split.
Yeah, I mean, their storyline kind of fell off towards the end of that season, the regular season at least. But yeah, this series was peak week 3 or 4 where they were completely destroying people. The entire series clocked under 74 minutes with that third game, just over 18 and a half. 18 and a half!
Oh.
You can't even fully surrender yet. You got to get the full 5-0 at that point.
And man, I feel bad here in this type of series for what was going on for Alfari in that top side here, and I don't think that's due to anything that he could have necessarily done with any type of skill, any type of outplay. I just think this was purely dominance here from Wonder, from Jankos here, the times that they were just deciding to camp him in game 2, and this was just an unbelievable performance here from G2. This is the level of caliber performance that you want from your top team going to MSI, showing the world right away that, hey man, you got to be scared about seeing us heading towards you as the champions of the European region.
And yes, tons of credit to G2. They looked fantastic. Clearly the better team throughout all of these games and a worthy representative for EU at MSI. But I'm a little disappointed in Origin. You take down Fnatic, who looked like they had just a free path to the finals. You take them down in pretty convincing fashion, and then this is the performance you put 6-0 G2 in this playoff run, and they probably love the new format. We just got to beat Origin twice, clean 6-0, get the title.
I tell you what, when they were putting this system in, there was no way they were envisioning a team like G2 to just run through like a hot knife through butter here, picking up the 6-0 here throughout the playoffs. And I think when you talk about the disappointment in Origin's performance here in the finals, I think that's real, but I think that plays into some of the discussions about spacing the time here between these matches out, having something as important as your matchup against Fnatic to get into this finals, and then just the very next day against G2. I think right now, right here, with taking a week between your playoffs starting, that's where you got to start implementing some of that time here, because I think giving that time for Origin, we would have seen a more complete series. Although I don't think that's changing anything, given the performance we did see from G2.
No, probably would have had the same outcome. That's number 5 for Perks, tied for most all time with Yellowstar. And so as Caps gets his, with a second team, which is a rarity in here. And of course, Jankos gets his first. But what I want to talk about with G2, obviously, these 3 wins were 3 completely different team comps that you saw out of them. And we knew the ceiling that this roster could have with the flexibility of Perks in that bottom lane. I thought it might take an entire split for them to reach that ceiling, but man, oh man, it did not. They play so esoteric, they play a funnel comp, and they play a standard game. The pick band that this team can put, they're going to have the most diverse champion pool heading into MSI.
This is the scariest thing about G2, is what they're going to be playing. What can they pick here? When you look at how it went down here, how do you grade Perks' performance in the finals as an ADC? Well, I don't know how you grade it, because he doesn't play the marksmen that we know that ADCs have been playing here. He played 3 non-traditional marksmen in the bottom lane there in this series, picking up
He didn't even play bottom lane in one of them.
Exactly, picking up the 3 wins here. This team has so much they can flex around right now, and given the meta where these picks are available to be flexed around in power, this is scary for this G2 squad.
Yeah, just this setup they have bodes so well for when they go to MSI, and they seem to be linked with SKT, by the way. Whenever SKT goes, G2 follows up with them. But I mean, I think you've got to be very confident in this squad, more confident than when Fnatic went, just because it's so perfect for them. You talk about, yeah, Perks can play pretty much any mage down there. You can flex between him, Wonder, or Caps. And just the champion ocean that Caps has as well that we already saw with Fnatic. This guy's playing Pike and popping off in a game. He can play anything, probably play it for the first time on stage. He's just that talented. So just the chemistry that this team has and how their players' skill sets suit their squad. We haven't even really talked about Wonder. He had an incredible series.
Wonder was fantastic. That's the best thing here, is that you didn't even get to talk about someone like Wonder and the performance that he's able to bring. This past kind of 2-3 years here of development for Wonder has been incredibly fast and incredibly potent so far in where he's been able to get his gameplay, his skill level here with G2. And I think if G2 is heading here to MSI, and the thought is that yes, you're going to go up against SKT, you're going to go up against Team Liquid, you might get IG. These are the top level squads you want to compare yourself to here. So you're going to get to go up against the big heavyweights. And of course, you still got teams like the Fongvu Buffalo who are going to come through and give you that surprise tough fight here from a wild card region.
Yeah, and we'll just really see how competitive EU actually is. Is G2 just beating up on some not so strong teams? Well, there's no easy teams to beat up on when you go to the mid-season invitational. Fnatic played on Saturday, and I was ready. I just assumed we were going to see Fnatic versus G2, but that series they had against Origin, that was not the same Fnatic team that we have seen for the last month and a half, basically. Origin played great, and again, that's why I was disappointed that they didn't show up against G2, but some questionable drafts from Fnatic, and when they finally decided, all right, let's just go back to our normal playstyle, it was too late.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing here for Fnatic, is that they did eventually recognize that, okay, what we've been trying, what we might have been practicing out here, we're not able to bring that performance to the stage today. Let's go back to some comfort. By the time they did that, it was too little too late. Origin already had their advantage and already was able to close it out here. And you're right, this is the disappointment here, is that we had a lot of good thoughts about Fnatic and the strength that they had been showing down the stretch of the season and into playoffs, and you thought this would be a good matchup. It really wasn't, because Origin kind of swept the floor here, and then the very next day got dismantled themselves by G2. So it wasn't the most competitive type of games that we would have seen this weekend in the LEC.
For Fnatic, you always expect to be in contention for winning that split, but I think with how terrible they started the year, you're still okay with finishing top 3 and getting some championship points towards Worlds, and you know that this roster is capable of competing for an LEC title. Coming up after the break, the Dream Run, Cinderella Run, whatever you want to call it, JD Gaming takes another victim. They're on their way to the finals. This is League on Lock, everybody. Eric and Mark here with you guys, and it's a couple days now after SKT completely destroyed Griffin, as everyone predicted. Mark and I thought this will be over so fast. It's going to be a 3-0 one-way. I think we both thought SKT were probably favorites coming into this, but no way either of us expected a 3-0.
No, 3-0. I don't think anyone could have predicted that type of dominance here. When you were looking at it, I think most people that had been following along the LCK for the entirety of the split, a lot of the LCK players and coaches as well, had predicted SKT to come out on top. Nobody thinking that the clean 3-0 would come through. But this was just pure domination here, and I think that right now, you got to tip your cap, if you're SKT, to Kingzone for giving you a little bit of that scare and the pressure that you had in the series to push you to perform the way you did, obviously, against Griffin.
And almost losing to them in the regular season gives you more hype to want to take them down, more motivation, because SKT was so close in their last matchup. And I mean, pretty much everyone across the board played incredibly well in this series. Teddy's playoff run was fantastic. Clearly the best ADC in the LCK, and I'm so excited to see him at an international competition. Happy he has a team. And Faker, all you got to do to make it look like he's prime Faker is just play Faker in it, or play Azir and Rise. Doesn't matter what year it is, 2019, 2015, he'll always be able to play those champs.
That was the thing. He got to hang out with his friend Bang, who was doing the Ezreal cosplay, and alongside the Ezreal cosplay was the Faker Rise from the Rise music video cosplay, and that's where Faker said, "Oh, I'll play that champion today, and maybe I'll throw it back a little bit more and play the Azir too." Looked pretty damn clean from the squad of SKT. Controlled performances for them against Griffin in the driver's seat a lot of the times here. And again, anytime they didn't have that lead, you knew that they were comfortable being behind to find their advantage and get it. And hey man, thumbs up for me. Teddy gets a win. This is good times.
And they're going back to MSI. They had the year off. Now they've been to 4 of 5, the only time that they've missed that event. Faker's back. Khan is back for the second straight split. And we still don't know who's going out of the LPL. It's either IG or JDG, but I think whoever goes, SKT, they're going to be the favorites heading into this event.
Right. I think right now the favorites would be SKT or IG if this type of situation, if IG is the team to go. I think if it is JD, they're just a notch here below the likes of an SKT and how you would expect them to perform here. But SKT looked really strong here. I know some people have come out and say, hey man, even though they got the 6-0, which I don't know, what else do you want? Getting a 6-0 over Kingzone
literally can't
and
do anything
Griffin.
more than
There's
that.
Nothing better than that here for SKT. And I'll tell you what, this is not the best time that they've ever been playing League of Legends, but I'll tell you right now, they are looking really strong and the chemistry continues to develop for this squad. watch out for them at MSI.
MSI is stacked, and the LPL semifinals also went by this weekend. TOP versus IG. We really hyped up this mid lane matchup between Knight and Rookie, and man, oh man, did it deliver in this series. These guys went back and forth, and TOP, they gave IG all you could handle. This series was incredible. Make sure you check it out, and even though they lost, Knight had a performance of his lifetime in this series.
Right, this is the amazing thing here, is that you did get those amazing performances from the two guys that you wanted to see the battle from the most here in this series. Lived up to the hype without a doubt. This was a full-on heavyweight brawl between two of the most skilled mid laners in the world, let alone the LPL. It really is unfortunate not going to be seeing Knight here, but this is what you want. IG showing the form, showing that they are the world champions, and they're ready to defend it here heading into MSI.
And for TOP, you've got a lot to grow on here in the summer split. Obviously, Knight, this guy had so much hype coming into his LPL debut season, and he did not disappoint in any way, shape, or form. But you're going against Rookie, and overall the entire roster of IG. The Shy and Ning just made it an absolute disaster of a time in the top lane for 369. He got subbed out eventually for Moyu, but IG taking on JDG now in the finals. And talking JDG, this run, 8 seed coming in. They take down World Elite, the hottest team coming into the playoffs. Then they say, okay, it's not a one-off. We take down the 2-time defending LPL champs in RNG, and they follow that up by going down 2-1 against the top team from the regular season. Their season looked done. They win that game 4 and bounce back in game 5.
Unbelievable run here by JDG. The only man alive that could have predicted this is Caps. I'll tell you that one, because I don't care. I've seen a couple threads getting on the LPL casters and analysts, other people as well, saying, how did no one get this? Someone give some respect to JDG. Well, I'll tell you what, the performance from JDG during the regular split, that didn't earn them the respect that you had to have here in the playoffs. Even the early wins that they had, you couldn't earn enough respect to get ahead of what people thought of Fun plus Phoenix and Doing B in the squad, what they'd do to you. And they got that advantage, and JDG said, not today, not yet. It ain't over. We're still pushing on. Zoom says, bring it on. I'll bring out the damage, and we're moving on into the finals.
Zoom versus the Shy is going to be an incredible matchup in the finals. That's the final boss for JD Gaming, and they will have run the absolute most insane gauntlet in the history of the LPL if they come away with that win in the finals. Flawless was clearly emotional after that comeback win over FPX, but that's going to be a great final. And if JD complete this miracle run, you know what we have at MSI? Imp versus Mata. The reunion of the Season 4 best bot lane in the world.
Oh man, there are so many great storylines here heading into MSI. Hey, you already are excited about it, knowing it is our first taste of international action here this 2019. But hey, the people that are going, the teams that are going, oh man, it's going to be good.
Yeah, SKT, G2, Liquid, whoever wins out of the LPL, the teams are going to be absolutely stacked. And that's what happens when it's the top seed from every single region. That's all the time today for League Unlock. Eric and Mark with you guys. As always, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.